Hey there, are you looking for new ways to increase profits? If the answer to that is yes, then you've come to the right place. I have spent 10 plus years consulting small and medium sized enterprises to do exactly the same thing. And in this video, I'm going to reveal how a consultant would approach a project of increasing profits. So if you're interested to dwell into the mind map of a consultant and therefore also be profitable, then this video is for you. Keep watching. Welcome back, champions. My name is Hardik and I make videos to help your company grow. If you think what I say makes sense, and if you feel a conversation with me can help you troubleshoot some of your business challenges, then all you need to do is go on to my website, scroll a little down, select the relevant areas you need help on, answer a few very basic questions, and there you will be able to book a free one-time one-on-one consultation call directly with me. So a project where profits must be increased, a consultant looks at two things that he needs to work with. Number one is what needs to be changed or improved for the profits to increase. The second is whatever needs to change or improve, what is the creative solution to make that improvement happen. Now, why am I talking about both of these things? Because most of the times, in fact, I'd say 99% of the times, entrepreneurs miss the boat on point number one to figure out what must improve or change for the profits to increase. And because they miss out on this, all that they look out for is give me some creative solution, give me some new solution to increase profits. Chances are there is no new solution that you need. You just need to tweak a little bit here and there and you should be able to substantially grow your profit. Now in this video, like I said, I'm going to give you the mind map of how a consultant would approach a problem like this, increment of profits. So to understand that, let's jump into the mind map. Alright, so now that we are on the mind map, profit really gets broken into, when a consultant is thinking, the profit gets broken into majorly two parts. In fact, only two parts. The first one is revenue and the second one is cost. And the reason why it breaks into two parts for a consultant is because what is profit? Profit is nothing but revenue minus the cost. So there are only two things that we have to work with. Then what a consultant would do is focus on one thing at a time and figure out what we can do with that. So let's go about checking one thing ourselves, revenue. We can increase the revenue or we could go about decreasing the cost. Let's look at the ways that we have at our disposal to go about increasing the revenue. Now, when I have to split the revenue, what is the revenue made up of? Well, the revenue is made up of the price that you charge your customer per unit of sales that you make, and you multiply that with the number of units you end up selling. That is what makes up for your revenue, your turnover. So what can you do with the price? You have only two levers here again. With the price, you may want to increase the price or you may want to decrease the price. When I say increase the price, obviously when you're increasing the price and you keep the units sold same, you obviously end up making more revenue. When you decrease the price, and the assumption here is that if you decrease the price, more number of people will buy your product. So you can either increase or decrease. You can't do anything else, right? With the number of units, what you can do? You can again increase or decrease. You can't do anything else. When I say number of units increase, if you increase it keeping the price same, you will end up making more revenue. When I say decrease the number of units sold, if you've identified a specific customer segment that is willing to pay more and is not going to consume a lot. It's like selling a Maruti 800 versus selling a Rolls Royce. A Rolls Royce, in terms of number of units, you will sell significantly lower, but the price per unit will be very, very high. So that could also be one of the strategies that you may want to look at. So if this is the option that is available, increase of the price or decrease of the price, increase of the units or decrease of the units, what is the solution that you can employ? Well, these are the solutions that you have at your disposal. Number one, increase the price and units sold. So you increase the price also and also increase the number of units that you are selling. Now, if you have to do this, you have to better your sales performance. Now, when I say better your sales performance, what are the things that you should look at controlling? You should look at improving on increasing the number of prospects. The more number of prospects you have, the chances are that even if you don't increase your conversion, you are going to end up making more sales. It's like if you have prospecting with 100 people, you improve that to prospecting with 200 people. Even at 100 people, you are converting at 10%. At 200, you are converting at 10%. Still, 10% on 200 is double your revenue. The same thing, you could go about increasing the conversion. You may say, okay, I don't want to do from 100 prospects to 200 prospects. I would rather increase my conversion and take it from 10% to 20%. Again, you will end up doubling your revenue. So what your focus needs to be is either you can go about increasing the prospects, or you can increase the conversion, or you could do a little bit of both. The second option that you have available is increase the price and decrease the units sold. Now here the price increase should be so significant that even if you decrease the number of units sold, it doesn't impact you negatively. In fact, it gives you a positive impact. Like I gave you the example of selling Rolls Royce over a Maruti 800. Now, if you have to do this, what do you have to do? You have to go hyper niche, which means you have to become extremely specialized. It's like a neurosurgeon does not do daily clinic work, right? But the amount of operation that he does and the number of patients that he really advises is significantly low. However, his price is very, very high. So why? Because he's a neurosurgeon. He has a specialty, something very, very niche. Now for that, what you can do is you can either identify a specific customer segment that you want to talk to and sell to, or you may want to have a specific geographic focus. When I say specific geographical focus, I mean selecting a geography where there is enough demand for your kind of products or services to sell, but there is nobody selling it in that geography. In both the cases, you will be able to increase the price, and even if the units sold is less, you still will be able to make more profits. The third option that is available to you is decrease the price and increase the units sold. Now, when you decrease the price, there is an assumption that the units sold will automatically pick up. And this assumption is coming from the fact that people are price sensitive, and that because they find your price a little higher than the others, they choose to not end up buying. If the market is price sensitive and that's the only thing why people don't convert, then this option could be for you. But I would call this a strategic gamble. If price is not what the decision making parameter is for your customer, then chances are even by decreasing the prices, you may not really end up getting the kind of revenue increase that you're expecting. But therefore, I call it gamble, but this option still is available to you. So technically, if you want to increase your revenue, what are the 5 things that you possibly can do? You could do a combination of all of these 5 things. You can pick up 1 or 2, but these are the only 5 options that you have with you. You don't have to think of anything new out of the box. You have to either increase the prospects, you have to either increase the conversion, you have to either go and become hyper niche, you have to become a geographic master blaster, or you got to do the strategic gamble by decreasing the price and attempting to improve your conversion. Therefore, you don't have any other option than these 5 options to go about increasing your revenue. Now that we've understood how we can go about doing the revenue increase, we obviously want to know that can we go about reducing the cost, because revenue minus cost, if your revenue is 100%, if your cost decreases, the disposable revenue or the profit that you will still have will automatically improve. So if you don't want to focus on improving revenue, you may want to look at reducing cost. Now, what are the kind of variables available there? So with cost, there are two kinds of broad buckets. This is how a consultant would approach this problem. First one is a variable cost and the second one is a fixed cost. What I really mean is variable cost is as much as you consume, you spend. So if you consume, let's say, 10 times any material, then you spend that much. If you can reduce your consumption, you can control your variable cost. Fixed cost means that this is a cost no matter what you do. This is a fixed cost. It cannot be changed unless you give up on using that product or service completely. So what can you do with variable cost? Well, variable cost is made up of number of units you consume versus multiplied by cost per unit. That, like I said, that is what makes up for variable cost. So what is the solution that you have at your end? Well, it's fairly simple. You either have to look at reducing the consumption of the units, automatically you'll end up spending less, or you have to reduce the cost per unit that you consume and you will end up getting the bargain on the cost. Now, how can you go about doing the consumption reduction? Well, you could choose automation. Now, when I say consumption, let's also understand people resource is also a variable cost. Why? Because the number of people you employ and you multiply their salary, it becomes a variable cost. If you can do reduction in terms of the number of people you require, you will end up reducing your variable cost. So now when I talk about reduction in consumption, automation can be one area which can help. Why? Because automation will reduce the effort, the human effort required. It will fast things up, which automatically means that you will reduce the amount of people you require. Process improvement can be another aspect. When you organize things in your company, a process improvement done can also result into less space requirement, less people requirement, and faster processing. All of this can help you reduce the consumption of certain items where you can become efficient and kill down on all the leakages that are there. The second solution that you have is to reduce cost per unit. Now, this is where you are saying you need to have a better bargaining power. So what are the kind of options that you have? Well, figure out a substitute or an alternative to the product that you are using. A substitute or an alternative that is cheaper than the existing product or raw material or service that you are using. The second thing is introduce competition. It is always advisable to introduce competition within your suppliers. If there are two suppliers fighting to get you as a customer, they will not have a very strong bargaining power, and you will, which means you can bargain with them and reduce the cost per unit when you purchase. So these are the two options available for you when you have to reduce cost per unit. Again, like I said, if you want to work with variable costs and you want to reduce variable costs, there are only 4 things that you can do. You have to either automate, do process improvements, figure out substitutes and alternatives, and introduce competition. These are the areas on which you have to work and therefore increase your profitability. Now, we spoke about variable cost. Let's go ahead and talk about fixed cost. Let me just select this for you. So with fixed cost, what are the variables that we have? Well, fixed cost are costs which you have to bifurcate into hygiene, value adding, and non-value adding cost. Now, what do I mean by all of these 3? Hygiene are costs that you cannot live without. Like for example, you need a factory and you need a factory of an X size. There is no way you can reduce it. You need an office. You definitely need an office, which means these are hygiene costs. You can't not have that. Phone cost, you cannot not have a phone cost. So these are hygiene costs. You cannot do anything about it. Then you got to figure out all the costs that you are incurring, which are still adding value to your business. See, what happens is as time progresses, there are things that we require and so we buy them. But over a period of time, those things are no more adding value. So when you do this, you will be able to identify costs which are adding value, put all of those costs into that bucket, and costs which are not adding value. All the costs which are fixed cost but are no more adding value, you may want to eliminate that. So what you do? list down all the fixed costs, bifurcate them, divide them into hygiene, value adding and non-value adding. Whatever you find in non-value adding, you want to eliminate that and therefore reduce your cost. So if you do cost reduction in the ways that I mentioned, or if you do the increment of revenue, that's the way you are going to go about increasing your profits. I hope the mind map has given you an absolute understanding of what your options are to increase your profitability. You may select one, you may select many, you may select a combination of a couple of them, but that what you select and then improve is the reason for your increased profitability. So if you like this video, hit a big fat thumbs up. Share this video with your entrepreneurial friends so that they can profit as well. Don't hesitate to share it with your customers if you are a B2B business, because only if they profit, they will buy more from you. Comment on this in case if you have questions. If you haven't subscribed to this channel, my dear friend, show your love to the beautiful red subscribe button and play a little bit with the black bell icon, because that's how you would know every time I put a new video. Until we meet next time, keep learning, keep implementing, keep growing your profits, and all you lovely folks, keep propelling.